Theodore Dreiser.
Theodore Dreiser, Sister Carrie. This, again, it's been on the shelf for so long. I'm glad I finally got to it. It's another book that, whilst not amazing, was good and gets that.
So he did American Tragedy. I feel like I've heard of that one, though, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So, little Carrie, 18 years old, leaves her family, gets on a bus and goes to Chicago. Her sister already lives there with a husband, so she's going to stay with her sister for a while. She goes around looking for work. Initially, she can't find work. So her sister really isn't that nice, and in particular, the sister's husband is kind of an ass. They only want Carrie there because they want her to earn money and then help them pay their rent.
Oh.
So they're just like, get a job, pay the rent. And she's like, I've just come to the big city, can we go to the theater? And they're like, you shouldn't be so frivolous, get money, pay the rent. Like, that's all they want. In the end, she's living on 50 cents a week. They're charging her that much rent when she does get a job. So that's really difficult to do, I guess. Like, you can't do anything nice. You can't buy clothes, you can't go to the theater, you got 50 cents a week. What are you meant to do with that, you know?
Oh, that's how much she gets. I thought that's how much
that's her wages minus her rent. She's left with 50 cents a week.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
And she has to, like, can you please reduce my rent for 1 week so I can get an umbrella because I have to walk to work in the rain every day. Like, this is sad, you know?
Yeah. Where is this, the UK?
And she buys an umbrella and her sister's like, such frivolous spending, you know? Like, okay. So you feel sorry for Carrie in the beginning. She's like a naive girl. That doesn't last. These are all stories, the same with Kips and the same with the last book with Nana, about people who start out okay but get corrupted by life, by the system, by capitalism, by, you know, society, basically. So Carrie meets a nice guy called Drouet. He's a bit suspicious originally because he's like, here's a pretty girl I can conquer.
Okay.
But Drouet is relatively a good guy, okay? He says, you're struggling, you want work, I know some people, like I can give you recommendations, whatever, we'll help you get a job. Oh, you're really struggling. He's like, cool, just take some money. He just gives her money and like, go get yourself some nicer clothes, it'll be easier to get work and all that kind of stuff, you know. And she gives the money back and then he meets her again and makes her take it. And then he's like, oh, we'll set you up in an apartment. And I'm like, is he trying to make her his mistress? And essentially that is what happens, but you kind of get the feeling that he does just want to help her. And then she says, look, if I'm going to live in this apartment with, you know, and everything, you should marry me. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm working on some projects, I'm trying to get some money together, like give me a month or two, and then we'll get married. The problem is she doesn't believe him and he kind of keeps delaying it, you know. But he is relatively a good guy. Like, there's a bit of me that thinks he kind of wants to control her, which I don't love, but he's relatively not a bad guy. He's not perfect, but, right.
Yeah.
So he introduces her to a friend of his called Hurstwood, who is married. And then she's like, well, I think I like him, so we're going to have an affair. And in the end, the maid, like, Drouet goes away for a couple of weeks to work or whatever, and the maid comes back and is like, so you know that our neighbour, someone tells him, like, so Hurstwood was running your house every single day with your wife, because he tells her they're already married, which they're not. And it's like, oh, cool, so she's just cheating with Hurstwood the whole time. But she doesn't know that Hurstwood is married, and she feels really betrayed later when she finds out. She then gaslights Drouet, and she's like, well, if you knew he was married, why did you introduce me to him? Like, why would you let me hang out with your friend who you knew was married? And it's like, well, I didn't know you were going to cheat on me with him. Like, that was not my intention. I just gave you an extra friend. I asked him to check in on you while I was away for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then you think about the time period, and it's a man and woman together. Like, there's nothing but a relationship. There's not really a friendship available.
I get they kind of act like there is, but like maybe not. But I don't like. There's a bit of blaming there. It's like, well, I've had an affair on you for months and treated you very badly, but it's your fault for introducing me to him. And then she's really mean to him about it. And he says, do you know what? You've got nowhere else to go. I'm gonna move out. I'll keep paying your rent. You stay here for a while. Like, good guy Drouet is kind of trying his best, even though he got screwed over. And then he disappears for a large portion of the book, but he returns near the end. She takes up with Hurstwood. Hirschwood's wife doesn't tell her she's married. She finds out later, and that's a disaster. Hirschwood's wife is also terrible. She's just like, I want more money for this, I want this. She doesn't treat him nicely. She's like, I want a season ticket for the races because someone else has one. And he's like, I don't know if we can afford it. What if we just buy you tickets for the games you want to go to? And she's like, I'm not asking. I'm telling you that by tomorrow, I expect a season ticket. That's it, you know? So, just, no one is really that nice. Yeah. And he's like, is our daughter getting a lot of new dresses and hats? And she's like, yeah, what about it? Give me more money, you know? So this is really kind of not
what are
good.
You doing? Like,
right. I'm going to spoil Hirschwood's story here, but he leaves his wife for the other girl, and they never really meet again. The wife never asks about him, never cares about him, just goes off, takes all his money, and is fine.
Oh, she takes the money, though. Okay.
Hirschwood ends up destitute. But that's skipping a little bit. So she leaves Drouet for Hirschwood. Drouet, in the meantime, has got her an acting gig, though. So just like Nana, she ends up acting. She starts out as like a chorus girl, you know, like a small role. She's really quite good, so she becomes the leader of the chorus, and then, you know, they start giving her bigger and bigger and bigger roles. She's living now at this point with Hirschwood. Hirschwood's lost his job. He starts not dressing as nicely as he used to. He's growing out a beard. He's getting a bit scruffy. She's now embarrassed to be seen with him, embarrassed for the neighbours to call round and see that her husband's unemployed. She gets many, many pay rises, like massive pay rises, because she's now a famous actress, but keeps telling him that she's earning very little, and they've got like no money for food or anything. And they're scrimping and scraping. Their position's completely reversed because now she's earning the money and he's the house husband.
But he should also know this, right? Like, she's famous, then why is he not know?
She won't give him the money. He knows, but what can he do? She's like, well, I don't have any money for this. And he's like, we need like some meat for the dinner on Sunday, you know, and we owe the butcher, we owe the baker, you know, 10...
And the candlestick man.
Yeah. We owe all these bills around town, and she's like, well, I'm not giving you the money. And, you know, he becomes like the distressed housewife character. So it's interesting to see those genders switch from like a lot of the books.
But I'm guessing it's a matter of pride for him that he's not the breadwinner. And
honestly, I don't even think so.
No, okay.
He's just like, why is she treating me so badly? Basically. And also my wife treated me really badly, and we've had to leave the city because all the people I know would laugh at me in my present state. Yeah. And it's really sad. And he also takes her away to live somewhere else and makes her leave the man she originally loved. So I think the two guys are both very controlling, and both just want to control this pretty lady. To be honest, I don't think they're good guys necessarily, but Drouet is the better guy. For me, a very important scene, totally throwaway scene, but it meant a lot to me. The three of them are sitting there, and a beggar comes past, and without even thinking, Drouet gives a decent amount of money, and Hirschwood's is like, go away. And Carrie notices it, but then thinks no more of it. Like, Drouet is the better person, but she sides with the other guy who... whatever, you know, she liked him, but now he's got no money. So she treats him really badly. In the end, she tries to, like, Drouet comes back, and it's like, well, will they get back together, whatever. He tries to help her again. She's a rich, famous actress. Hirschwood ends up homeless, going to, like, food shelters.
Oh, no.
I'm going to spoil this one, because this is horrific. He ends up standing outside, like, in a hotel. She's, like, walking into, like, fancy hotels and everything. He has to go begging from her in the street. He's now a beggar. She gives him like a couple of pence or whatever, and he dies in the street, lonely and poor and cold and sad. His wife doesn't care about him, his mistress doesn't care about him, and it's really horrific.
I know.
And I was like, oh wow, okay.
So she ends up with Drouet, or she doesn't deserve him?
I can't quite remember if she goes back to him, or if it's just hinted at, or it's not clear, or maybe she doesn't go back with him, with anyone, but he does come back, and there's the hint that they might get back together. But Drouet is kind of a good guy, even though, yeah, maybe he did want to control her a little bit at the beginning, whatever, but he helps her consistently, and of course she throws it back at him like, you've never done anything for me, how did you help me? It's all myself, I did it all, you know. She starts out as such a naive, innocent little girl, and really she's such a horrible person. Yeah.
Aww.
But again, it's this thing she won't give him, same as the last book, she won't give him like housekeeping money to get the food and all this kind of stuff, so it's similar. She's an actress, and a lot of similar traits in the book. The genders are flipped, I guess, but, well, not even, no, because Nana's the bad one in a way, and so is Carrie, but neither of these books really have anyone good in them. Drouet's not bad.
Yeah, I guess I did forget about the controlling bit at the beginning, but...
But he does do a lot for her. Hurstwood basically just says, come away with me.
Yeah.
You know.
But he doesn't deserve what he got. He was not...
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I didn't like Hurstwood until the end, and then I was like, but it's so sad. You weren't a good guy, but also, I don't think you deserve to just be a beggar, and to die in the street, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's so sad as well, because she's not giving him money to, keep up the house, and he can't, and then he gets depressed, and she's just like, well, no, I can't be seen with you because you look scruffy. What happened to your nice... she's like, I fell in love with a rich, well-dressed gentleman, and you're not that anymore.
Yeah, and that just shows how shallow it was from the beginning. So, yeah, she didn't deserve either, but...
Naturalism is tough, man, because no one ever really loves anyone, and no one ever wants to help anyone through the hard times. It's always just like, nope.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Yeah, it's hard to find... if you were to ask me, the difference between realism and naturalism, it's hard to distinguish at times, isn't it? But at least in realism, there will be good people.
Yeah, naturalism is almost... In a way, it's almost less realistic because there's no good people. But it just takes it a step further, I think.
It looks at specific types of people.
Yeah.
But... Yeah.
But that's...